Hey guys, Mrs. Lanphier here, and we are looking at the WYSIWYG navigation bar assignment in this video. So we're going to be adding buttons to our pages that we've been creating in this InView program. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go to this, in part B, they give you the, where is it? Here, website to create the button. So we did this in the previous lesson, so if you haven't done it yet, you might want to go back and review this lesson. But you're going to create some buttons that kind of go with the theme of your page. So let's see, I'm going to go, this looks like kind of a nice button style. And we're going to name these buttons. I need one for birth, preschool, elementary, preteen, and today. And then I also need a home button because I'm going to be adding a home button for on my subpages. This font's a little too crazy for me, so I can kind of go through and pick some different font styles. But again, you guys have already done this before, so feel free to kind of pause this video and go over this part of this assignment yourself. And let's see what we're looking like. That looks pretty good. Now, one thing that I want to make sure that my button widths are all the same. So I'm going to make all of my buttons, oops, not 2000. Let's see what 200, that's a little big. Maybe I do want 150. Even that's still a little big. Let's go down to 75, see what that looks like. Oh, that's a little small. There we go, that's good size. But I want all my buttons to be the same width, so that's, again, just consistent on my page. I'm going to say create button and download image. I'm going to save file, and I want this to go into my documents, web design, portfolio, unit 4, images folder. And yeah, we can just stick them in this images folder. So I'm going to take this button, drag it into my images folder, and then I'm going to rename this. I think your text gives you some specific names that they want you to name these buttons. Let's see. Birth button.gif. Okay, so there's going to be a birth button, a home button, and again, mine's a ping image, so I'm not going to say .gif, but mine's going to be home button. And go back to my web page. Go back to this page I was creating the text on. Now I'm just going to hit the back button and do this same thing again with create all of my other buttons. Okay, so I have my buttons created and ready to go in here in my images folder. So now I'm going to go back to my index page and start plugging these buttons in. So inside this first cell, I want to go to insert image and find my buttons. So this first one is my birth button. And so we add our button location, and then under the link tab, we need it to link to our birth page. So in order to do that, we can simply type in birth.html. That should be the name of your page for your birth. Oh, mine's called baby. So you might want to call yours baby, or if you named yours birth, whatever you named it, that's what we want to link it to. And say OK. The image is relevant to context. Oh, gotta add my alternative text. I'm going to say birth button. And there we go. Now, always make sure that everything is centered. I'm going to go to Cell Properties. Or maybe if I double click this, or maybe if I do this, there we go. We want to make sure our buttons are centered inside that cell. So then we're going to do the same thing for preschool. Find our preschool button. And again, we're going to link that button to my preschool page. Is called preschool.html. Okay. Oh, dang it, I keep forgetting that alternative text. I'm going to say preschool button. Okay, so go through and add the rest of your buttons to finish out this page. Okay, so I have all my buttons loaded here. I'm going to save this file. I'm going to go back to my index.html and open it up in a browser and see how it looks. Very nice. Let's make sure all my links are working. Uh-oh. So something's going on that it's not finding my linked pages. So I have to go back and figure out what's going on there. Okay, so I found out what I did wrong here. So if I double click and I go back to the properties for that button, you'll notice that I have preschool.html. So that's the name of the file, but you'll notice this is where it gets kind of tricky. It will probably be easier for you if you just go to choose file and select the file, because you'll notice it's actually, the file name is actually preschool.html, and then it's a HTML file. So you could either choose file and add them that way. So if I go save, open this back up, okay, so now my links are working so I didn't have the proper file name. So you could either link them that way, or what I might do instead of relinking everything is actually go in and change these file names so that they just, because they're already an HTML file, I save them as, so that .html is actually part of the name and not just the file extension. So that part's kind of up to you. If you saved your files like I did, you might want to change that. If you had them saved correctly in the first place, you might not have ran into this problem. So now I can go back in and take that little part out. Okay, save. And now they should still be working. There we go, and they still work. So if you had that extra .html on your web page, that might have thrown you off a little bit. If not, you should be good to go there. So then the next step, we have these buttons on our index page. Now we need to get them over onto the rest of our pages, as well as an additional home page, so that we can go back to our home page without having to hit the back button. Okay, so looking at the instructions again, we added buttons to our HTML page, made links to the correct subpages. Now on each subpage, we need to add the home button in the cell above the birth button. So this is my baby page. I need to add a cell above my birth button. So I'm going to click into this cell. Let's go to Table, Insert, Row Above, and I'm going to add my home button right in here. So now I'm going to do the same thing where I went through and put in my buttons. Find my home button, open, alternative text, home button, link this back to my Actually, it's called index.html page. Okay. And also make sure we center this inside the cell. So again, you're going to go back through just like we did on the index page. You're going to go in and add all of your buttons onto each subpage. And again, insert a row above our birth line so that we can add a home button there. Okay, so I have all my buttons added and linked to my baby page. I'm going to save that. And now I'm thinking, so instead of spending all the time to insert all these images as buttons and relinking them, I'm going to go to the source code and find out, I think I just want to copy and paste all that text instead of having to re-insert the images all the time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with, let's see. Well, it might be easier to... Alright, so here's my home button. So I can copy this cell. I'm going to copy both of those cells within that row and copy, go to my preschool page, source, and let's paste it. Now I got to find the right row. Here we go. It's one row. So actually, sorry, I'm going to be going back and forth here because I want to, and so again, you can kind of do it this way where you can copy and paste. I'm going to copy this entire row so that I can add it then into this code. So if you want to do it this way, you can. If you'd rather just stick with, I think this is where it goes. Hey, if you want to do it that way, you can. If you'd rather just stick with the way and inserting every button, that's totally fine too. But I'm going to copy and paste some code so I don't have to reinsert all these buttons over and over again. Okay, and I just found an even easier way to add all these buttons. So if you go to a page that has them all set up, they're already linked and inserted and all that. If you select the button and hit Control-C to copy, and go back to the page you want to place it on, Control-V to paste. If you double click on it, you'll see it already has the alternative text, it's already linked to the right page. So that is the way I'm going to finish adding all my buttons, just copying and pasting them on the right page, like so. And another thing I'm going to do also, once I get all of these buttons copied and pasted over, is you'll notice on my preschool page I already did this, but I don't need this extra row up here now. So I can highlight both of these rows, right click and say join selected cells, and that way I don't have the extra row above my picture that I don't need. So that's the easiest way I found to add those buttons. I still have 2 more pages to go. Okay. So I have those buttons pasted and I have everything saved. So now I just need to pull my folder back up here and check it out and make sure everything's working. So here's my index page, link to my baby page works, preschool, check, elementary, check, preteen, check, and today. Yay, so all my buttons are working. Let's double check our text for the assignment instructions here. All right, we added buttons to our index page. We made links to the correct subpages. We added all the links on the subpage plus an additional home button above the birth button. All buttons should be on each of the subpages. Check. Make your links for each button. Save all pages. Okay, open your index page to your browser, check all buttons work properly. I just went through all my buttons. Make sure that all images appear as you check the buttons. Extra credit, add titles on each page using cooltext.com. All right, so if you want to, you can create titles for this your titles for each of your pages there. So go back in and make titles if you choose to do so. You can get some extra credit points for that. And then you're going to zip the entire Unit 2 folder and submit that into the navigation bar assignment.